Have you made yourself receptive? Have you made yourself, have you, have you made yourself receptive to divinity? Have you made yourself receptive to divinity? O Brahman, O the eternity, O the limitless, O the boundless, O Brahman, O the eternity, O the limitless, O the boundless. If there is something more left to say, O Brahman, O eternity, O the limitless, O the boundless, if there is something more for me to say, if there is something more left to say, if there is truth remains that need to be said, if there is wisdom remain that need to be said, you know as well as I do, you know as you know as well as I do, the time to manifest the word of truth and the time to manifest the words of wisdom is now. It's always present. It's always and always present. And it's now. Meaning, if you, as you know, and you are aware, because I am a part of you, as you know, and you are aware, as I am a part of you, I am your part. You are my mother, and you are my father, and I am your part. As you know that for me, as far as I know intuitively, the time is over. I trust myself. I trust my intuition. And I have left numerous guidelines. And I have I have left numerous guidelines for my seers, for my followers, for my loved ones, and for my lovers. But if there is something that is left, or you think that if there is something that remains for me to say, the time to say it is now. These are a few things that you must know and you must realize fully. These are these are the things, these are the tools, these would lead you basically to rather a more comfortable life. If you understand, this would lead you rather to a more comfortable life, and you would feel lighter than a feather, as well as we have mentioned that to you. In ancient Egypt, from ancient Egypt, there is a saying, and the saying is, if you feel if you feel that your heart is lighter than a feather, and you feel no contradiction for the most part of the day, you feel no duality for the most part of the day. In other words, that you have transcended the mind of humanity, if not all, then for the most part. So in ancient Egypt, the saying is, if your heart feels lighter than a feather, for if your heart feels lighter than a feather for the most part of the day, then every day, if you are leading a life like that in which your heart is light, then you are going to heaven. This is the saying from ancient Egypt that I am stating. And if your heart feel basically like a burden, and if your heart is carrying, excuse me, if your heart is carrying a weight, if you are feeling suffocated, you see, if for the most part you are feeling that you are struggling with your breathing because you are in duality, because when you are present in the present moment, you when you are perceiving the reality, if you understand, when you are perceiving the reality, that moment you have no thoughts in your mind, you are perceiving the truth as it is, then you are perceiving the truth as it is, then your heart naturally is light, if you understand. Then your heart naturally is light, and your heart naturally is lighter. But if you are feeling duality, if you are feeling suffocation for the most part of your day, maybe every minute, maybe numerous moments in a minute, if you understand, then you need to work on yourself. I'm not going to draw the line that you are going to hell. I am nobody to claim whether you are going, either whether you are going to heaven or going to hell. Now, second thing to remember, please, how is it that we are going somewhere? We are not going anywhere. Second thing to remember, heaven basically is heaven is the state of the being, you see, and so is hell. Are you understanding what I'm saying? It is whatever you have made out of yourself so far to this point. Whether you or every action right now that you are performing, you see, most people, I'm sure all people, are scared basically to go to hell, because religions They portray a picture of hell is a place where the fire is burning, if you understand. These are all symbologies, my dear, my followers, my lovers, and my loved ones. These are all these are all the symbologies. If you understand, through symbology, um, you are being told something. Through symbology, you are being realized about a fact. And what is the fact? Have we ever questioned that? What is the fact? The fact is that when every time when we feel suffocation in our breathing, not because of the biological reasons, not because of the physical reasons or any other reasons, every time when we feel suffocated in our breathing because of the duality, because of the fear, because of the outcome of an action, because of the the devil of doubt, which sees the what kind of mind frame you are in and penetrates the doubt in you, penetrates the self doubt in you, if you understand that. Then if you are feeling on the regular basis, then you need to work on yourself and you need to take it very seriously because it would print on our tendencies, you see, and those after we drop the body, which for me it is going very soon. I know it, I am there. For me, it is going to happen very soon. We have talked about that. But we do not know that day, you see. We do not know that day when we are going to drop the body. You see, we do not know that day. And that day, nature has made it unknown from us. Otherwise, we wouldn't last a minute. Otherwise, we wouldn't last a moment, you know. So, since that is a gupt, you see, since that is a secret which is not made known to us, since that is a gupt, and since that is a secret which is not made known to us, since nature is keeping it hidden from us, you see, every moment we should take very seriously as far as working on ourselves and transcending duality. See? And if we are feeling lighter than a feather for the most part of our day, if we are feeling very light, means hard, if we have no duality, if we have transcended the duality for the most part, if for the most part of our day we are not at conflict, if for the most part of our day we are not in a contradiction, if for the and our breathing is in smooth, that also would imprint on our that also would imprint on our tendencies. And when it would print on our tendencies after we drop the body, we would carry on further by those tendencies. So basically, what I'm saying to you, tendencies would create our hell, and tendencies would create our heaven, if you know. If you are feeling lighter than a feather and you have transcended duality for the most part, still keep doing in meditation. This is also something to remember every day. Make meditation just become habitual. Make meditation a habit, not hobbit. Make meditation a habit. Make meditation a habit. not habit. Become used to of meditation, just as you have become used to of eating when you are feeling hungry, when you are starved, just as you have become used to of, what this is, or this, or this. Just you have become used to of all this because you are horny and your libido is high. And obviously, it's a physical requirement. You see, it's not the matter of morality. It is not the matter of right and wrong. It's very, very simple. It is a physical requirement. But just as you feel horny and just as you feel your libido is high and you are required, your body has an intelligent your body has an intelligent system of its own, if you know, and you you have forgotten to learn to trust your intuition. You have forgotten to learn to trust yourself. You have forgotten to learn to trust your body, if you understand. The more you care about your body, the more you do not abuse your body or at all, because it's a no-no, because your body is totally loyal to you, but it seems like you are not being loyal to your body by tormenting yourself, by cutting yourself, by burning yourself, and by this and that. And so your mind, you can be a little diverted from the mind because you do not like what mind says. Ironically, you are the one who have subscribed and has signified the importance to mind, and now when it has taken charge, you do not like. And the judge in the mind, which usually manifests or emerges in form of somebody you are very close. Have you ever noticed that about your mind? That there is what if in your mind. Please pay attention to the every word I am saying, just like I always do. Please pay attention to the every word I am saying, just like I always tell you, if you understand. And everything would make sense in the end. What is the purpose of this retreat today? What is the purpose of this video today? Because in last 3 hours, I was in a very profound state of Kriya meditation. And after that, I basically slipped. That's rather right word. After that, I basically slipped in the state of samadhi, where I lose the touch and the awareness of my body, because my body is not me. That's why meditation is natural. My body, I know through meditation, my body is not me, nor this mind that I experience for the most part is me. So I slept in, excuse me, not slept. I slipped. I slipped into samadhi, a very potent state of meditation, and I was made aware. When we say I was made aware, it's again intuition. It cannot be explained in words, if you understand, because we know words are very clumsy to words are very, very clumsy to state, to mention a reality. You understand that words are very clumsy. Words are the most clumsiest invention that a human came up with, you see. So over there, I was made known, you see, that these are the things, Yogeshwara, that you gotta say. Now, please pay attention. You can ask sacred, you can ask Brahman. This is also that you should go ahead and. So these are just very concrete truth, and these are very concrete gems of wisdom. that I'm giving you. And I know the time is super duper close, and I cannot be joyful enough. I know it for a fact. The time is super duper close, and I am at bliss, you see. I am excited to go home. Um, and please do not forget, after every meditation, you need to say farewell to me. Do not forget that. I am expecting that from you. It is expected from you. You understand? Whoever is listening, I broadcast on a media free, and I make it visible to everyone. Obviously, my videos and retreats are not for children. Obviously, my retreats and my words are not for kids, you see, because their mind is not able yet to grasp what I say. You understand? Their mind is very, very, very fertile. So it's not. It's only for adults. However, anyone who turns into an adult, my words of truth and wisdom are for that being. So take advantage of it. Whatever I am saying, just keep your focus intact. Just stay with me, okay? Do not believe or disbelieve the word. So it was made known to me that go ahead and mention it. Because before that, I said to Brahma, before I intended to go in the state of meditation, before I intended to go in the state of meditation, I asked Brahman. You cannot harass. You humans have become very, very used to of harassing, because you know why you harass. Have you ever pondered about these things? You know why you harass? Because you have no patience. You want something. As soon as a thought arises, you follow the thought, you go after the thought says I need this, thought says I want this, and then you follow the thought, and then thought tells you that I want this, I need this, you see. So you want that right then and there, because you have no patience, you see. This is another thing I'm going to shed light. This is another thing that we are going to ponder. This is another thing that we are going to elaborate, if you know. So thought says I need this and I need this right here and right now. That's what thought tells you. You understand why I'm saying to you. And then what happens? And then you become restless, even though you do not have resources basically to get that. But thought keeps you in conflict. So you cannot harass divinity. You cannot expect a rapid answer from divine. You are divine, but when you ask something from divine, you ask through the perspective of a separate self, that little tiny. I remind you to remember the word remember. I remind you to remember the word remember. You like to remember, huh? You get super excited when you remember. Do you remember the time? Anyway, so what happens? I make you remember. So I have told you, you cannot harass Brahman. When you ask something from Brahman, when you ask something from secret, from divinity, you ask through the perspective of the separate self, the tiny separate self that you chose to become, unfortunately and sadly, the tiny separate self that you chose, that you became. You cannot harass uh, the divine, the sacred. Okay, so you can you have an intention. Your intention does not need a word. You can have the intention of inquiry, and it was not a inquiry to Brahman. It was simple and a statement. I said like right before meditation. This is also one thing to remember for you. It would help you. right before meditation, and I didn't verbalize, but the intention was, if there is anything left for me to say, if there is any truth left for me to say, if there is any wisdom for me to say, the time is now. Because in your kingdom, my Father, in your kingdom, my Mother, it has no gender, by the way. If it is not even transgender, I am using the word it. I'm not using pronouns. If you know, I'm sure that all my seers, my followers, my lovers, my lovers, and all those ones are English compatible. Their modem is English compatible. So I'm still in a state of meditation, so bear with me. I'm sure you would bear with me, because people, my loved ones, my seers, they um, compliment me for that. They are very entertaining. Well, this entertaining is going to be over soon. This body is going to go back to the planet Earth, where I borrowed this body from, if you understand. This this body is gonna go back to planet Earth, that where I borrowed this body from, and what I have made essentially out of myself to this point. Remember, I didn't use I said what I have made essentially out of myself. There is a difference that would progress, you see, and same goes to you. You know, no one is exempted. No one has ever cheated this. You see, not even Lord Jesus Christ. You can claim whatever you want to claim. You can assume whatever you want to assume. It doesn't make it true. Anyway, moving on. I didn't use no pronouns, she, he, or transgender, they, them, binary, non-binary, 0 and 1, stuff like that. I have got a 1, if you have got a 0. Is your 0 tingling right now while looking at me? Is your 0 wet? What is the case here? But anyway, so I didn't use no pronouns in it. You see, I didn't use it, the sacred. You cannot harass sacred. You make the intention in your mind, you do not verbalize, and you go into the state of meditation. If it is meant for you, if it is meant, basically, you yourself has no existence. I myself has no existence. You see, thy will be done. Remember from Bible or one of the proverb, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. If you know serenity, serenity prayer, the prayer for sanity or serenity, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just mentioning that. So you just leave it to that. You can harass people. You are physically mighty. You have connections. You have authority. But here, you are 0. You have no existence here. And if you try to be, you would get severely hurt. It's just like that. All you have, all the intensity, all the prana, life, energy, and everything what you got in you, is just like that. You start running in that speed and you are basically going against a very concrete rock. What is the result when you collapse with the rock, huh? You have that much sense, right? You get the picture. So you would get hurt like that. So when this is also one thing also that would guide you and lead you, if you want to find out something, but you have to be on a certain level of receptivity. We'll talk about this now. One can ask me questions. People ask me questions, but not very often now. People ask me questions, but not very often now. People ask me question through emails, people ask me question through text messages, people ask me question through sometime when they are in my vicinity verbally and stuffs like that. People ask me questions and I answer them. If you do not have questions, it means that you are not listening or paying attention. If you do not have confusions, you see. I mean, if you do not have questions, it's not the standard that you are not paying attention. I'm sure a lot of people have told me that I have made a lot of people have told me I have made tremendous amount of change in their life, and I'm glad. Anyway, ask questions. And if you do not ask questions, I would raise those questions for you. If you do not ask questions, I would raise those questions for you to bring clarity. Anyway, I receive questions. It's a good thing. I used to receive a lot of questions when back in October, October. Do you know what October is? Back in October, I I started the channel October 1st. 3 years. This October 1st is going to be 3 years, but I'm not going to be around. 3 years or maybe 4 years. I do not know. I'm losing the calculation. Calculation is also a result or an activity in the mind, isn't it? And I refrain to consult the mind of humanity because for the most part it brings nothing but misery. For the most part it brings nothing but duality. Anyway, moving on. Now, receptivity. One can ask the question, yes, you mentioned receptivity. How do we become receptive? You see, you mentioned receptivity in the last retreat, when you mentioned these rubber bands on your right hand. You see this rubber band with my praying beads. And I mentioned that a few people were curious who these praying beads. Rubber band is ordinary, but this rubber band is on my arm right here. And this rubber band holds these praying beads, if you know what I'm saying. So they said, and I said that, well, if you think you can carry them, because for the most part, I know my seers, my followers, my loved ones, they have been doing meditation, or they have started, or they are going to, and I love you for that, because we create one healthy human being, we create one healthy society, then we create from one society we create another society, another, just like the chromosome, there was only one, and through that it divided. I might be wrong and correct excuse me, I might be wrong and correct me if I am. However, I do not subscribe or signifies too much importance or significance to concepts and ideas, which is nothing but science. So just like that, it is started from 1 to 2, and then life is started just like that. From a healthy society, we would create another healthy society, another, and then the dharma of the humanity would go up. That's the goal of the meditator, which is Gyani. That is the goal of the yogi, you see. Anyway, moving on. So that's why it is very significant for us. When I say us now, I'm not talking about human race. Please mind. When I say us now, I'm not talking about, for the most part, the majority, the major percentage of the humans are living. I'm not talking about that. Because we do not judge them. You know the reason why? Because if we judge them, the game is over. But we are slightly sad. Because, as I said, such a humongous possibility, such a limitless possibility has turned into something so confined, has shrunken to it. Anyway, receptivity. And I said to them that if you have to have excuse me, you have to have certain level of receptivity, if you understand. And if you do not have certain level of receptivity, there may be consequences. Sometimes do not always label things in good and bad. Do not always label scenarios in good and bad and bad and bad. Do not always do that. You see, things, scenarios, what you are facing is neither good nor bad. When you look at life that way, it becomes very easier. You understand, without labels and without markers. This is another secret that I'm sharing with you, if you know. It's all wisdom that I'm delivering you to make your life easier. When you become overwhelmed with the hustle bustle, the bamboozle, the involvement, the activities, the interactions in life, you become overwhelmed, don't you? Then put my words of truth and wisdom. I will be gone. Remember, I didn't use the word death because there is no such thing. But I'm just letting you know, I will be gone. But this would comfort you. But comfort is not enough. You need to make progress as you are expected to make progress. If you understand, you are. And you will. I have faith in you. And I love you. All right. So what happens basically? Receptivity, I said you have to be on a certain level of receptivity for these rubber band, not the rubber band, I'm sorry, for these beads for you to carry. That's number one. Because if not, because it carries what it carries basically. Let me elaborate on that. It's not a secret. Here I am elaborating, explaining on a media. It carries clarity. So it carries a vibration, the vibration of clarity, the vibration of prana, which is very high in it. And these were given to me back in India by a devoted Rama Krishna Gayani. That's itself, if you understand, by a very by a very, very devoted Gayani and a yogi of Rama Krishna Pramanshaya. You understand? Of Rama Krishna Pramanshaya. This was given to me, and it carries a lot of clarity. It carries a lot of high prana energy. It also carries bravery. It defies fear, you see, and all that in the being. So, and obviously these are all vibrations. Please learn, folks, my people, the dear human beings, please learn to look at life in a rather much clearer truth as life is happening. And what is that way? How life is happening? Life is happening in form of life itself is an energy, it manifesting in form of frequencies, it manifesting in form of vibration. These frequencies and vibrations always are in you. What this is, it is carrying, this rubber band and the beads are carrying a vibration of frequency, not only from that Gayani, but now because with numerous years I've been wearing these, numerous. I don't even remember when I started wearing these, numerous years. So now it carries my energy. So if you meditate for long time period, I'm not saying for long hours, and this is receptivity. So now pay attention. You see, you asked me how to be receptive. I'm telling you. Let me elaborate on that in a much finer way. Just be with me, okay? I'll be right back. Ooh. what is, you have to be, remember, I told you, you have to be on a certain level of receptivity. And I'm going to tell you what you essentially are or what you have made out of yourself. Take a look here. It's a balloon, isn't it? Everybody knows. See, it's a balloon. You see, it's a latex balloon right here. Now, I need you to tell me what's in this rubber. You see, the very rubber, the very latex defined its boundaries. I need you to tell me what's in the latex. I need you to tell me what's in the rubber. Why rubber is stretched. You see why rubber is stretched and it got bigger. Why? So there is no rocket science here. You understand that? Any person, an average person, anybody can answer that question. Look around. What is this? Space, air, space, air, or what your mind understand as nothing. And here, what basically is separating the air, as I ask you, what's in the rubber? It's nothing but rubber. It's nothing but latex. And air is in the balloon, right? The air is in the balloon and the air is all around the balloon, if you understand that. Now, what I do, I take a pin and I pop the balloon. You see, the balloon, the air which was in the balloon, that air basically has gone. Okay, now, now if I ask you a question, the air which was in the rubber, the air which was in the latex, you know what I'm saying? Separate that very air from rest of the air which was around it. Remember a minute ago I showed you that there is that balloon and Namaskaram Baba Shakti De. The air, the very air which was in the balloon has become the part of the rest of the air. If I ask you now, can you separate the very air which was in the rubber balloon from the rest of the air? It's not possible, isn't it? Now imagine, I'm giving you a very concrete metaphor to make you understand and how to become receptive, remember? Now imagine the rubber balloon. The very rubber defines its boundary. Now imagine the rubber balloon and whatever the air is in the balloon is soul. Soul in all reality, if you ask me, is just a concept. And we will get to that too. We will shed light. But we use the word soul to make people understand in the beginning and in the, we use the word soul. We use the word soul to make people understand in the beginning, to make them comprehend, to make them realize the fact, the relation of Atman and Brahman in our Vedic culture, in our meditative culture, in our yogic culture, and in spirituality in the beginning. After, as you grow spiritually, which is your real growth, which is the only growth that you must be concerned. After you grow spiritually, what happens? After you grow spiritually, you realize there is no such thing as soul. However, if Here in this moment in time, to make you understand, I am using the term soul. Soul is the speck of consciousness. Soul is the speck of the sense of self-awareness, you see. Whatever the balloon, the very rubber which was defining the boundary of balloon, are you with me? Now is, I popped it, it's gone. And the air, basically, which was you, the soul, it merges, you see, it merges with the rest of the air. And then if I go ahead and I ask you, separate the air which was in the balloon from the rest of the air, it's not possible. This is what we understand as Mahasamadhi in our yogic culture. You see, I just killed two birds from one stone. If your focus, if your attention was intact, this is what we understand as Mahasamadhi. Or this is what we understand as enlightenment. Or this is what we understand that this person is outside of the birth of, outside of the cycle of birth and outside of the cycle of bodily demise or transition. That's what we understand. The cycle itself, the cycle of birth and the cycle of death itself called samsara. But when the rubber is gone, which was defined in the very boundary of the balloon, the air in the balloon now merged, became the part of everything. That's what we understand as enlightenment, In order to be very comfortable and not English again, contaminated, in order to become the part of rest of everything, the air inside should work to drop the contaminations, the impressions. You understand? The impressions of the action. And when it does, all the contamination goes away. It becomes the part of the rest of the air. This is what enlightenment is. Anyway, the air in the balloon, the very rubber which was holding the air in the balloon is gone. That's karma. And now you become the part of everything, if you understand. The relationship between Atman and Brahman is just that. Just that. The air in the rubber carries all the tendencies of the air around it, doesn't it? Doesn't it or no? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Anyway. Now, what happens? When the balloon, receptivity means the balloon itself is being given, not certain, is not a specific. Let me see the most refined word I'm trying to remember. The most refined word I'm trying to remember. You know what I mean? You are given certain room, that what you understand Atman, you see, you are given certain room. Now imagine I elaborated, you see how profoundly and how deeply and how in detail that I am explaining everything to you. You see, there remains nothing to look at in that much profoundness and that much deep depth I'm going. Now imagine a glass, you see, a glass, inside the glass, it has certain room, you understand? Imagine glass. In the glass, you have certain room. Now you want to fill the glass with the water, and then you want to fill the glass with the soda, you want to fill the glass with wine, you want to fill the glass with beer. You can fill this particular glass or any glass with one drink in a one time. Are you seeing my point, what I'm saying to you? You can only fill that glass, you know what I mean? You can only fill that glass with one drink, only one drink within a one time. You want to fill it. You want what you are doing right now, why you are not receptive, not why you are not on a certain level of receptivity. I'm explaining, and how you can attain that. I'm explaining that too. What, why you are miserable, why meditation does not work for you, why you after meditation you raised energy and it dissipates. Remember, energy whatever you raise it would dissipate if you are not receptive. Remember that you can only conserve energy when you are empty. You are trying to fill the glass with water, you are trying to fill the glass with beer, you are trying to fill the glass with soda, with milk, you see, and you want to, you live in an illusion, unfortunately and sadly, that you can you live in an illusion, excuse me, you live in an illusion, unfortunately and sadly, that you, my friend, my loved ones, my follower, can taste all these liquid that you are trying to pour into that glass all at once, if you understand, all in the same time, and you want to experience the very taste of each liquid. It's not going to happen. That's why you are miserable. That's why you are confused. That's what you do. For most human, that's what they are doing. You see, most human. A Gyani, a meditator, a yogi, is more aware of these things. How do I know all this? You see, because I have dedicated myself. I know it firsthand, and it's been verified by my mentors. My mentors are the one who walked with me and liberated me. You see, I didn't believe or disbelieve them. I looked at it and I said, is it making sense? There was truth in it. It naturally resonated through me. That's the right word, if you understand. Okay. So that glass has milk, beer, and all that. Just like that glass, you are given by nature in this moment in time. We will tell you, you are given certain room. Your room is not unlimited. You see, it would be only unlimited when you have achieved Mahasamadhi. Remember, the air in the balloon is limited because it is confined by the very rubber around it. Remember? And but the air around it is unlimited. You are the air in the balloon right now, and it has only certain capacity. It can have only one thing in one time. You want to gossip. Now, these are the factors that are detrimental to your receptivity. This would bring, if you understand, this would bring your receptivity so fast, if you know, like if there is fire burning and you put petrol or gas or fuel, whatever you want to call, a fire igniter on it already, and it would go really fast. Just like that, it would burn your receptivity. Even though you work on it every day, that's why people complain meditation does not work for me. Meditation do not work or does not work for you. It's because along with the meditation, you are expected. Mind you, I didn't say you are supposed, if you understand. I didn't say that you are supposed. I said you, along with the meditation, you are expected. Along with the meditation, you are expected to take certain measures. If you understand, you are not supposed to, even expected. After a certain period of time, it could be very long time, by the way. It could be one lifetime, it could be two lifetime. But if you do not move, you see, that's why Jiddu Krishnamurti said, move, sirs, move. But if you are not moving, that's the thing. You are not moving. That's the thing. That's why he said, move, sirs, move. But you are not moving. You are stuck. That you have no growth if you do not move. Or sometimes it happens even the same lifetime to people. If they do not move what they signed up for towards it, then nature would change. The compassion, you see, you cannot always be given compassion, love, and all that. You get only what you put out. It's very simple. That's another thing I wanted to talk about and elaborated and wanted to bring clarity in you. That's another thing. Okay, we'll get to that. Don't worry. So you are expected to make the change. You are expected to make the progress, if you understand. And if you do not, then it would change its ways towards you, my friend, if you understand. Anyway, so you are expected to take the right measures. Now, what are the right measures to make yourself receptive and keep it? First, get rid of everything that keeps you restless. When you gossip, your dharma, your own dharma goes down. You feel like I'm not doing the right thing, but I still enjoy it. My father, I do not talk about my family, as many of you know now. My father, not only he was a really messed up controlling man, but he had friends like that too. Misery likes company, huh? And one of his friend, back in India, he was some kind of um, government officer or something, and he thought he was a hot shot. He was a poet. I don't know what kind of poetry he was saying, but he thought he was a hot shot, and he said, I cannot think of any other way to get the pleasure but through gossip. You see, gossip. That's what he said. This is how a 65-year-old person in India, which was supposed to be the birth of wisdom, it's not supposed to be. It was the birth of wisdom, but now it's all knuckleheads, just like rest of you humans. Anyway, so he said that this is the magnitude of wisdom you carry, that you get pleasure while you gossip. Do not gossip. For number one, is gossip practical? Think about it. You two of you make fun of somebody who is not even around to defend themselves. That's number one. Number two, if you gossip the heck out of a person, if you gossip the heck out of a person, if you gossip the extremely gossip, this and that, in the end, what difference would that make in your life? In the end, what difference it is making in your life? The very life you are living, what difference is it making in your life? You have misery. You are not on the talking terms with your partner, with your husband, with your wife, with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend. And or maybe, unfortunately, you are not able uh, to find work, and people are putting pressure on you and stuffs like that. These are the real problems, isn't it? These are the problems people face in their daily life. Are these problems going to be solved by you gossiping? Hence, I just proved and concluded that it's not practical. And two, it's detrimental. As a matter, don't say gossiping is harmless. No, it's not harmless. It's very harmful. You see, it's detrimental, extremely harmful to your spiritual growth. Very detrimental and very harmful to your spiritual growth. And this is the only real growth as far as I believe. This is the only growth as far as I know. This is the only growth as far as I realize through my own experience. If you understand, this is the this is the only growth as far as I know through my own experience, as far as I realize through my own. It's not a fairy tale for me. Spiritual growth is the only growth. Spiritual growth is the only true growth. Spiritual growth is the only fact. You see, that's the only thing you would carry with yourself. Spiritual growth. It's detrimental. Gossiping is detrimental to your spiritual growth. Get rid of the gossip. Now you have more receptivity. You see, I cannot make it as simple. I cannot make it as simpler. I cannot make it as simplest I already have. You see, even a child, a kindergarten child, can comprehend what I'm telling you. You understand? Get rid of the gossip. That's how you become receptive. Number two, do not make assumptions. Do not make the assumption that the assumptions you are making are true, and then you go around and you make other people's life miserable. That's detrimental to your spiritual growth. Because you, first of all, you are not doing what you were supposed to do. I used to know this woman, this poor woman, and she was a victim. She was a victim of suspicion by her boyfriend. Now, this boyfriend, I would understand because I am very close to my transition, and I have elaborated about the OnlyFans also that I started and why I started that. Because both of my legs are not functioning. 16 to 17 hours out of 24, a little bit time that I sleep, and that's it. Otherwise, I cannot function more than a few minutes. I cannot walk more than if 1/3, and then I feel that they are lifeless. And thank you so much for your concern. If you are praying or doing meditation, but in the end of the meditation, you're going to say farewell. This, for me, is not serving no purpose. That's why I started OnlyFans. But before that, and always I have earned my own living and never ask anybody for any type of assistance or anything. But right now, I have a physical disability, unfortunately, because of my legs. And I have also explained why I have this disability. Anyway, this fella, this boyfriend, does not have no disability. He thinks of him, he's religious, he's Christian, and he has a certain mind frame that women should go to men and ask for help and this and that. Like, he believes in superstitions, and he calls his girlfriend while she's at work and makes her life miserable. Who are you talking to? And remains over the phone for numerous hours just to make sure that she's not talking to anybody else. That's the level of his control. So drop this crap, okay? You are hurting yourself in the very first place. In order to pass that misery to somebody, you must be miserable in the very first place. You cannot imagine, if you understand, you cannot imagine lending me 5,000 US dollars until unless you have it in the very first place. And if you claim that I can still lend you while I do not have it, you know what the word we use in this country or any country for these type of delusional human beings, that you are crazy. You cannot lend me something you do not have to in you do not have to begin with. That's what I'm saying. You do not lend me that. In order to lend me that, you have to have it in the very first place. That's what I'm saying to you. You cannot pass misery to somebody if you are not miserable in the very first place. What else you can pass? What you have? You see, simple. So this guy is miserable, he is hurting himself, and then he is hurting that poor women, you know. Is this why you were here for? Hmm? Remember, I told you a few minutes ago, there is no unlimited time for you to get your crap straight and do your work, do, play your part. There is no unlimited time. There is no unlimited amount of time. You understand that? There is none. There is just that you need to work on yourself and play your part, not making your life miserable. That's also very detrimental for your spiritual growth. Number two, you see, do not make assumptions. If something has to happen, if something is destined to happen, that's because of your karma. And remember something, it would happen even under your nose. You see, like in the bunkers and the barracks, you are on the top bed and the down bed, somebody is doing your girlfriend or whatever. Literally, it can happen like that too, and you wouldn't even know about it. Or your partner or your spouse, and you would not even know about it. It would happen just right under your nose if it is meant to happen. So you are wasting your time for no reason. You see, you have become the slave. You have become the biggest slave. You have become the biggest slave of the mind of humanity. That's what you have become, the mind of humanity, which is nothing, or for the most part, I would say. I wouldn't say nothing, but for the most part, full of contamination, poison, duality, suspicions, assumptions. You see? Okay, so you would, this is number two, refrain from making assumptions and do not think those assumptions are real. You see, that's number two. Number three, realize that you are the air in the rubber. You see, if you are the balloon, you are the air in the rubber. And obviously, however you work on yourself, that air in the rubber would attract the similar air around it. If you understand, you now understand what I'm saying to you. You go around, you say it's very, very difficult, it's impossible to find good people. You get what you put out there. You please know this, okay? You get what you put out there. It's not possible that you are spreading hate. It's not possible that you are a thug or you are a racist. You are spreading discrimination on the behalf of any type of discrimination. If you are creating division among human beings, if you get thrilled. I used to know a fella up north in Washington. His name was Samuel Thomas. He was from Hawaii or somewhere, you know. Anyway, it's not important. I don't know why even I mentioned that. Maybe someday he would watch this retreat and say, oh, I think I'm wasting a lot of time. Maybe I should just get. He was a demon, literally. He was literally a counterpart of the devil. And he was a really scum. I mean, he did all this and he was always miserable, talking to himself, getting pissed for no reason. Like he was the man of all seasons, couldn't get his dick up for no reasons for long. He was the most miserable scum that I have seen in 45 years. But he loved gossip. He loved gossip. He created division among humans and he got thrilled on it. He made people miserable and he laughed within. That's demon, isn't it? That's the that's the chilla. That's the counterpart of the demon, you know. So that's what and he always remained miserable. It's not possible that you spread evil around you and you are expecting to get heaven, or you would go to heaven, or you would overcompensate that by saying or believing, I'm a religious person, I pray 5 times a day as in Islam says, or I go to synagogue or shul, or I go to church, I do my charity, this and that. You, in your mind, you are overcompensating. These things are ridiculous. These things are lies. They are not going to do anything for you. No, you are not forgiven. You must realize that you're responsible for every thought you create. You know that it's even that sensitive. So he would, excuse me, not he would, let's drop him, but I'm just saying that it's not possible. I have seen numerous people, they sit and they complain and they criticize. That's all they do. They say, you know, it's really hard to find good people. You know, Mother Teresa, who was it, Nishan or Mother Teresa, or one of the saint in this world? They mentioned this world is full of good people. Please understand. And I have mentioned this before, if you know what I mean. I have mentioned this before, but I'm repeating because such a brilliant statement. This world is full of good people. If you cannot find one, are you following me? Become one. You see, this world is full of good people. If you cannot find one, become one. I'm saying, if you cannot, stop looking for the good person, if you understand. Stop looking for the good person. Become the good person for somebody else. And when you become the good person with loyal and selfless intentions, then so much goodness happens around you, you wouldn't be even able to handle the goodness. You would be practically high on goodness. Okay. So become the right person. In this rubber balloon, the air is you. The rubber is defining your very boundary. Whatever you are processing in this rubber balloon, the air, whatever, it has a tendency to attract. It is like a magnet. It's energy, isn't it? It's like a magnet. It has a tendency to attract the same type of vibration. If you are that kind of person, you would see that kind of people. If you are evil, you would always meet evil. If you are miserable, you would find misery everywhere. If you are a good loving person, if your vibrations are very high, if you are a good loving soothing person, if you are a comforter for the rest of humanity, you would attract that, you see. So these three fundamental things and do this. I do not know if I would have another chance. I do not know if I would have another chance to speak with you, but do not be disappointed on YouTube. I do not know if I would have another chance. Remember something. Do not forget to say farewell. Both of my legs, for the most part, are not functioning. They are not functioning, both of my legs. Both of my legs, for the most part, I feel that they are lifeless. You understand? They have very little life left in them. Walking here and there is a small walking. Like if I have to climb upstairs, if I have to walk within my room, if I have to walk within my studio here, or outside in the porch. This is a small walk. It does not count. I can perform these activities. But if I have to walk like as you do at work, like you have to stand up, you have to move, you have to carry stuff, you have to bring stuff, you have to be in function physically. I am not able to perform that. That was one of the main and primary reason I attempted OnlyFans, that it may work. It works for some people. It may work for me, so at least I can get by. Anyway, I leave it on my Brahman. I don't think if I would have another chance to elaborate in such length. I don't think if I have another chance to elaborate in such a detail. But I'm leaving my videos on YouTube, on Instagram. Okay, whatever is here on this media, on Facebook, is also on YouTube. So do not be disappointed. I have made sure as soon as I finish my retreats, I upload it on YouTube. You would find a serene corner, you would find comfort, but comfort is not enough. You need to work on yourself and become comfort for somebody else. That's how it's gonna go. There is only one way, you know. There is only one way, and that's how it's gonna go. Ooh.